Hi, friends. It's Miss Melissa here, coming at you with Miss Jenny. And we have a bunch of new mystery books for elementary students that we are really excited to share with you guys. All of these books were published in the last 6 months or so, and we were able to find a lot of really fun titles that we hope you guys will enjoy as much as we have been enjoying so far. So, to start off, I'm going to start with our picture books. My first one I want to share with you is called How to Catch a Clover Thief. And it's got two characters you can see. Roy is this guy right here, and Jarvis is this guy right here. And at the beginning of the book, Roy finds a beautiful clover patch. And it hasn't bloomed yet, so he's just going to hang out and wait for that clover to bloom and dream about the delicious feast that he is going to have when it blooms. Well, Jarvis keeps coming along and giving Roy books. I don't know anybody else who would do that. But the problem is every time Roy starts to read a book about cooking, a book about camping, these are supposed to help him enjoy his clover, he wanders off and starts a new project based on what he read in the book. And then when he comes back to the clover patch has been stolen. Poor Roy. I bet you can guess who might be stealing all of Roy's clover. But Roy has a couple tricks up his sleeve. He learned something about reading every time Jarvis gave him a book. And I think that he is going to be able to catch his thief and also get his clover in the end. So that's How to Catch a Clover Thief by Elise Parsley. The next book that I want to share with you is called Agent Lion and the Case of the Missing Party by David Soman and Jackie Davis. They are the husband and wife team that wrote and illustrated the Ladybug Girl series. So if you read that, the writing and the illustrations might feel kind of familiar. The story is about this little skunk named Petunia, who you can see on the cover, and it is the day of her birthday party. She's got her pretty birthday dress on, she's got her bow, she's ready to have the best birthday party ever. But the birthday party vanishes. The balloons, the streamers, the cake, the guests, they're all gone. So she recruits a detective, Agent Lion, to help her figure out what happened to her birthday party. Her birthday party's in a hotel. So throughout the story, you get to kind of travel through the hotel with Agent Lion and Petunia, looking for clues and meeting all the other hotel guests. It's very fun. It's a new book that reads a lot like a classic. And I think that it's got really broad appeal. It's very sweet, so I would highly recommend it for the preschool crowd. All right, Jenny, what do you have for us?
All right, I'm back. So I know that Agent Lion book, doesn't that have a sequel? How many are in that series?
There's a prequel called Agent Lion. Thank you. I forgot to mention that. But I think this is just the second book about him. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure it's just number 2.
Wow, that's super cute. Okay, so I am going to talk now about this series. It's called the Pow Wow Thief series, and it's by Joseph Bruchac. And I like these because they're a little bit longer picture books. So I would say, and when I say it's a series, I mean there are 3 that I know of in the series. And I think more are being published, and they're really fun mysteries. And like I said, they're a little bit longer. And these picture books would be great for maybe like a kindergartner or a first grader who really wants to try to practice like solving the mystery along with the story as you read it, which is just a really fun thing. So these are twins on the cover. It's Jamie and Mary, and they spend the summers with their grandparents. So their grandparents they're part of the Longbow family, and they travel around to different powwows all over the country. And they help their grandparents at their jewelry tables. So their grandparents sell this beautiful like homemade jewelry, and they get to like mingle with other Native American kids and families. And it's really cool. It's a fun setting. And at each of the different powwows that they visit, they solve a different mystery. So at this one, in this particular book, someone has stolen this. You can see this really beautiful piece of jewelry on the front cover. And this gentleman right here, his name is Sleepy Mickey. And no surprise, he falls asleep while watching the jewelry table, and someone steals this beautiful necklace, and the twins have to try to figure out what's happened to it. So they team up together, and their grandparents are very happy that they saved the day. And it's just a really cute, wonderful story. Same with this one. This one is called the Pow Wow Dog. There's a dog that's stealing all the hamburgers at a different powwow. And then at this one, it's really cool. There's a treasure map, and there's a character in it who presents the twins with this very mysterious treasure map. So all sorts of fun mysteries and kind of a unique setting. You don't see a lot of picture books that take place at a Native American powwow. So that was really, really fun to read. And now we are going to kind of take it up a notch. So we're going to start talking about our early reader books in our collection, which are really meant for kids who are beginning to learn to read independently. And the first mystery early reader that I want to mention is The Boxcar Children. So we oftentimes at the library get parents who want to recommend like a read that is kind of nostalgic for them. A lot of parents really love The Boxcar Children when they were kids, and they want their kids to get into the series. Well, this is the way to do it, right? If you've got an early reader who's just starting to learn how to read independently, they can get to know the 4 Boxcar Children kids. They can help them solve their quick mystery. In this one, in the Blue Bay mystery, the kids spend a few days on a deserted island. At least they think it's deserted, but they start to notice really strange things, like a parrot on the island who knows how to talk. And the parrot says some things in English, and they think, wait a minute, who taught that parrot how to talk? And then they find some seashells that are placed in a very conspicuous spot, and they notice some of their food is missing. So the kids start to slowly think, maybe we're not alone on this island. So it's kind of a fun, exciting early reader. If you're not quite ready for chapter books, this is a great one because it's kind of a longer early reader. And there's more in this series for early readers. So here's another one, The Yellow House Mystery. And then I grabbed one more off of our shelves here, The Lighthouse Mystery. So there's lots of these. If you've got a little one who loves mysteries and they're just starting to learn how to read independently, I really, really like this series. And there's lots of great illustrations throughout the book too. All right, I think Miss Melissa might have a book for us now, an early reader book.
I do. So I love that The Boxcar Children has been adapted into early reader series too, because it can be kind of tough to find mysteries in the early reader section.
Totally.
But speaking of classics that have been adapted for early readers, or that are early readers, we've got a new Nate the Great book, Nate the Great and the Earth Day Robot. These are being written, I think, by the original author's son, and this one is really, really fun. Nate is helping his class create a science fair project for the Earth Day Science Fair at his elementary school. And their entry in the science fair is a little robot vacuum named Mr. Butler. And when they want him to turn on, all you have to do is whistle at him, and he starts sucking up all the dirt on the floor while he says, yum, yum, dirt, yum, yum, dirt. It's just so silly. But right before the science fair, Mr. Butler disappears. Oh no! So who better to take on this case than Nate the Great, the ultimate kid detective? So he goes looking for his science fair entry. Along the way, he finds a lot of other really cool science fair entries, like a robot cat and some escaped earthworms. But is he going to find Mr. Butler and be able to enter it in the science fair before it's too late? I don't know. You'll have to read the book to find out. Another easy reader mystery that we have that's new is a Dragon's Rescue Riders book, and it's called The Mystery of the Dragon Eggs. So in it, in the beginning, the rescue riders are out and they find some mysterious eggs. They don't know what kind of eggs these are, but the eggs appear to be abandoned. So they decide to take them back to their headquarters and take care of them because they're worried that the eggs might get stolen or something like that. Well, after they take the eggs back, Dak and Layla need to go run some errands, so they leave the dragons in charge of the eggs. Some slinkwings show up, and they say, oh, those are our eggs. You should give them back to us because we lost them. Do you think those slinkwings are telling the truth, or do you think they might have an ulterior motive for wanting those eggs? I don't know. You'll have to find out. I can tell you, though, there's a really, really good example of how research and books can help somebody solve a mystery. So as a librarian, I really enjoyed this one.
It sounds pretty good. I like that cover too. I feel like that would draw in a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are going to keep moving on. We're going to get into those beginning chapter books now. So I'm going to share with you the first of 3 that I want to introduce you to. It's the Secret Explorers series. This is a new series, and this is probably my favorite of all the books that we're sharing with you today. I liked this one the most because it was such a page turner. It was such a fun adventure, and it's a really cool premise for any kid who's just got, a big imagination and they're curious about the world. If you've got a kiddo who likes maybe to travel or learn more about all different things like science, and it's just a really cool series. It's about these kids from all over the world. There's about 10 of them, and they have a specialty. So the kiddos on this cover, this is Roshni, and she is a specialist in outer space. And then her friend right here, this is Connor, and he's a specialist in marine biology. And they are part of a very super secret elite group called the Secret Explorers Society. And they have these glowing compass badges. And when they wear their badge around their neck, and when it starts to glow, they know that they're getting called to save a mystery. And they literally travel through space and time, meet together, and get sent on a mission. And then when they go back to their home, their parents don't know. It's like time hasn't passed. They can almost time travel. So super, super cool that these kids have all of this responsibility. They're solving mysteries. In this one, Roshni and Connor are trying to help save a pod of whales who are traveling in the wrong direction. They need to go to southern cold waters, but there's been this huge algae bloom right off the coast of Australia, and they're traveling, I think it's west instead of south. So they have to figure out how to help turn this big pod of whales around and make them travel south. So the kids learn about, environmental principles too. They learn about algae blooms, and they've got this really cool submarine, and they have to make loud noises to turn the whales around, and they start rapping really loud over a loudspeaker in the ocean. It's really funny. So there's humor, there's adventure, excitement. This is an awesome, awesome series for any kid who's wants a page turner. It's a fun beginner chapter book. So I really, really like this one. The next one I want to share with you is a graphic novel. So in my experience, it's hard to find graphic novels that are at a low enough reading level for a first, second, or third grader. And this is one. It's Banana Fox. It's really funny. Banana Fox is a lovable doofus detective who for better or for worse, he is going to save the day again with his friend here. And they think that they've gotten rid of their bad guy. Their Banana Fox's ultimate nemesis is Sour Grapes was his name. Yeah. And so Sour Grapes is in jail, but Sour Grapes has a son, Sour Grapes Jr., who wants to fight Banana Fox. And there you can kind of see him in the corner there. So all sorts of shenanigans happen, and it has to do with like super sour soda that has mind control properties. And poor Banana Fox has to try to drink a bunch of banana smoothies to get his head in the right place in order to fight Super Sour Jr. So it's very, very silly and very funny. And the book 2 in this series is coming out in October. So if your kiddos like this one, there are more coming. So I highly recommend this one. I really enjoyed it. And then the last one I wanted to share with you, it's part of the Great Mouse Detective series. So I'm not sure. There might be some parents out there who remember the movie The Great Mouse Detective. I think it came out in like the late 80s, but this is an older series. This author, Eve Titus, is deceased, but she wrote this series and they've gotten republished because they're just wonderful mysteries. And the mouse, Basil, is based on Sherlock Holmes. So it's a great introduction to Sherlock Holmes if you have a little one at home who might want to really kind of up their mystery solving game. There are some pretty tricky clues throughout this story, and you have to really be paying attention to pick up on it. But you get lots of opportunities over the course of this beginning chapter book to solve the mystery. And you can see they're not that long. They're pretty thin reads. And I think there's at least 5 or 6 in the series that have gotten republished. But I just really, really enjoyed it. It's Basil and then his friend, Dr. Dawson is his name, and they solve the mysteries together. And in this one, they have to prove that their library is not haunted because books are getting knocked off the shelves and they're hearing all of these eerie voices in the library, and they're trying to figure out what could be causing this. So everyone thinks it's a ghost, but Basil knows better. He knows there's a mystery afoot. So lots of really cute storylines like that. In this one, this is book 1 in the series. In this one, there are some twins that get kidnapped, and Basil has to try to find them and figure out who could have kidnapped them. So fun little mystery stories. And I would say they'd be like a great family read aloud. Like if you wanted a good book that would just keep the attention of your kiddos, the Great Mouse Detective series is definitely a good choice. All right, Miss Melissa, I think we need to hear from you. This looks like a great book.
Yes. So speaking of ghosts, my next book is about a ghost detective. And this is a brand new graphic novel, Junior Easy. So for, the 1st through 3rd grade crowd. Honestly, I loved it. So I would recommend it to anybody. It's a sequel series to the Sir Simon picture book that came out about a year ago. So if you read this and you really liked it, this series is just going to delight you. Okay, so Simon and Chester. Simon is the ghost. Chester is the boy. They are hanging out in their attic and they're totally bored. Well, actually, Simon is writing a true crime thriller on a typewriter, and Chester is totally bored. And Chester is trying his hardest to distract Simon and figure out what they're going to do for the day. He ends up going through some boxes of old costumes that his grandma has from her theater days. And one thing leads to another. They end up fully costumed as detectives. And of course, once you've got a detective costume, you need a case, right? So the story it's not super plot driven. It's just very much like a wacky, cute book that has some of the most adorable illustrations I've seen in a graphic novel, and really, really lovable characters. You'll just fall in love with Simon and Chester while they, try to solve a crime after they find a crime and get distracted by cookies a few times. I'm really excited, though, for all the other books that will come out in this series. I'm definitely going to read all of them. If you've got a kiddo who likes graphic novel series like Narwhal and Jelly or Investigators or Catstronauts, this book is going to be a huge hit with fans of all of those graphic novel series. So, yeah, I am really excited about it. Another book that I want to share with you is called The Dramatic Life of Azalea Lane. This is book 2 in the Azalea Lane series. It just came out. So Azalea Lane is not really one for drama. She's a pretty classic middle child. Her sister, Mia, her older sister, is the dramatic one. And Azalea finds herself at Mia's high school musical rehearsal. And she's just planning on sitting very quietly, like her parents instructed her to, until stuff starts going wrong. Props are falling over. Costumes are getting ripped. Things are disappearing. And Azalea has to decide, is she going to put her super detective skills to work to help save Mia's show? Or is she just going to sit very quietly, like she promised her mom that she would? You'll have to read the book to find out. But one of the things that I loved so much about this book was just the illustration. I know I just said that about Simon & Schuster, but the illustrations are just so cute. I love it so much. They're really colorful and vibrant, and all of the faces are just really expressive. It's a really good book. All right, next one. Avon Green Sleuthing Machine. So we've met Avon Green before in a middle grade chapter book. This is by Dusty Bowling, who honestly, I would read anything she wrote after reading Avon Green. She is so funny. Avon Green was the hero of the series. It was a two-book series, the Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus. So this is the first book in a new series for young readers. It's still a junior easy chapter book, so for the first through third grade crowd. The thing that makes Avon Green so interesting is she is born without arms. And in the beginning of the book, she tells you about how she would love to tell you all of the brutal ways one can lose arms, but her story is quite boring. She was just born without them. However, she believes all of her arm cells went to her brain. So she has super detective skills. She can figure out any mystery and solve any problem. And she's also incredibly book smart. She is really spunky and lovable. And again, this one is an illustrated chapter book as well. She goes to school one day and discovers, after she's solved many other cases in her life, cases she's already had great success solving are Mystery of the Flowers on Mom's romance novel. That was an easy one for her to solve because she did it. She drew the flowers on Mom's romance novel. Other mysteries, like the Mystery of the Smelly Feet and the Mystery of the Stinky Breath, were easily solved and remedied with some soap and toothpaste. But she has a new mystery in her life. A bunch of food at her school is disappearing, and then her grandma's dog disappears. Could these mysteries be connected? Is she going to be able to solve the mystery and figure out what's behind all these disappearances? Oh, you'll have to read the book to find out. You'll probably fall in love with her while you read the book, too. My kids both stole it and read it in a day, so it's kid approved. And then the last book I wanted to share with you from our JE collection, our Junior Easy collection, is a new title in the Decawoo Drive series, which is a spin-off series from Mercy Watson, written at a slightly higher reading level than the Mercy Watson books are. Also by Kate DiCamillo and illustrated by Chris Van Dusen. So you'll see all your favorite characters from the Mercy Watson series. Mercy herself even makes an appearance during a sleepover. Yes, she sleeps over in our hero's bed. This book follows Franklin Endicott, who worries about absolutely everything. He worries about tests. He worries about black holes. He worries about alligators, submarines. He even worries about goats because, let's face it, goats have kind of creepy eyes. So he finds himself lying awake at night with a lot of nightmares about his worries. Maybe that's something that our friends can relate to. I don't know. But he ends up going to his neighbor, Eugenia Lincoln, for help because she actually stays up a lot at night too. And she offers him the opportunity to help her run some errands. So he finds himself running an errand to duplicate a key for her. But the guy that Eugenia has, who has duplicated all of her keys and will duplicate all keys in the future, is also a little creepy. and his store is a little creepy. And to make things even weirder, when Franklin gets home with the envelope that's supposed to have the original key and the duplicate in it, there's a third key that is totally different. He's never seen it before. Jenny has never seen it before. I wonder what this key unlocks. Could you guess? I have no guesses. So he has to go back and try to figure out the mystery of this key. While he also has to overcome some of his worries and maybe even grow a little bit. It's a really cute book. Again, like all the Mercy Watson books, it's a new title with a really classic feel. All right, Jenny, are we switching over to Jay's now?
Yeah, let's move into the junior fiction section. So these are books that are just a little bit higher reading level for our little ones. I found this book, Kate the Chemist, and I really, really loved it. I read it in one sitting. It was such a quick, interesting, wonderful read. This book is great because it combines mystery with science. So if you have one out there who's really interested in science or like making their own science experiments at home, this book had so many fun science experiments. The kids at this school have a STEM night coming up, and it's going to be judged by our main character, Kate's favorite YouTuber, Dr. Carolyn, who does all sorts of really fun science experiments on YouTube, and Kate's seen all of them. And she's coming to her school to judge the STEM night science competition. And whoever wins the competition gets $1,000 to put toward anything that they want to do to their school to like improve their school, which is awesome. They get $1,000 to like invest in whatever they want. So Kate and her best friend Birdie have to figure out who is trying to sabotage her STEM night creation, which is like you can make a battery from a lemon. So Kate's going to do that. And she's going to combine that with a Rube Goldberg machine. It's really, really cool and really complicated. And someone is trying to sabotage her project. Like someone's stealing her lemons and like writing on her board that Kate's bad at science. And she and her friend Birdie use chromatography to figure out the ink from who wrote that message. And they actually find the culprit. So it's kind of a cool mystery. I really, really enjoyed it. And there's a lot more in this series. If you have a kiddo out there who's really interested in science, this was a fun, awesome read. And there's some illustrations throughout too to really keep your attention. And then the last one I wanted to mention, and then I think Miss Melissa's got one more after this and then we're done. But I don't know if there are any Mars Patel fans out there in the world. So this is a podcast that I just learned about. It was really popular maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, but it's still really popular. It's been re-released. It's a podcast series. It is told in the voices of middle school kids. They actually read the story out loud. You can read the scripts. There are 3 seasons, and it is so interesting and so fun and exciting, and it's this great mystery. Mars Patel is a 6th grader, and the kids at his school start disappearing, and he's going to get to the bottom of where they're going and what's happening. And it has to do with this billionaire named Oliver Pruitt, who happens to live not far away from Mars Patel in the Pacific Northwest. And Oliver Pruitt has a very strange podcast that Mars listens to. And he's kind of dropping clues on his podcast about what's happening in this region of the Pacific Northwest and where the kids at his school could be going. So really fun, just page turner mystery. And it's been turned into a book, obviously. So the podcast was so popular that someone turned it into this book. And it's really cool too, because it's sort of told through text messages and emails. So it really keeps your attention, like it keeps the pages turning, because a lot of the storyline is told in the voices of the characters of this book, Mars, and then his friends, who are just kind of a band of misfits at their school. So if you know about that podcast, even if you don't, read this book. It was really, really cool, fun page turner. And I would say it'd be great for like anyone 8 and up. I think you would really enjoy it. Okay, Miss Melissa, I think you've got one more. Is that right? One more junior fiction book, and then we're going to say goodbye.
Two,
Oh, no, you have two? All right.
Let's see what's in your slideshow.
Okay.
All right, so this is what I was planning on book talking next.
All right.
So, Cat Wolf on Thin Ice. This is book 3 in the Wolf and Lamb series, and this is a true middle grade chapter book. So, it's got a little bit more suspense. It's a little bit more serious than a lot of the other mysteries that we're talking about, but it's really beautiful. It's about best friends, Cat and Harper. They're traveling from their home in England to the Adirondacks for a vacation. And early on in the story, Cat realizes that she was a key witness in a kidnapping. And like in the previous 2 books in the series, she has to put her detective skills to work, or she decides to try to figure out what's going on, where this friend that they had made has gone, and who's behind this kidnapping. It's also set in the Adirondacks, so if you've got a reader, maybe 3rd grade and up, who's interested in like adventure and mystery, and also likes books with really great natural landscapes, this is a really, really good pick for them. Like I said, it's got more suspense and a bigger reveal at the end of the story than a lot of the other stuff that we've been book talking for younger kids. And then the last book, I think I have one more, don't I? Or is that it?
I think that's it, Miss Melissa.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
I think that's it for us. We made it through. So just before we go real quick, I know we're at our 30-minute limit, but first of all, we wanted to say we created a book list, right? And it's linked here in the comments of this post of our video. So if you are curious about any of the books that we mentioned, just click on that book list. It'll take you right to it. You can put them on hold right from there. And then Summer Wonder is happening still. Please turn in your 30-day challenge reading logs if you've done that. August 7th is our deadline to try to do that. So please visit your local library. You can pick up your prize book if you've participated with us. And then the last thing we wanted to mention is that there are more elementary age book talks coming on August 16th at 6:30 p.m. It's a Monday night, and they're going to be focusing on historical fiction. So please come back and join us for that. And I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome job, Miss Melissa. Nice to see you. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed some of these mystery books. All right. Bye.
Bye.